What is going on, guys? It is your boy, Mr. Banks, coming at you live again with a nice trade recap. Now, we caught calls for over 300% today. We caught the downside for over 100%. I'm going to show you exactly how we did it, what we were looking for, so that you can find and make trades like this on a daily basis. Go ahead and hit that retweet and like so you don't miss any of this educational content I try to put out on a daily basis to make you a better and profitable trader. Now, as you guys know, these are real trades that are taking. No hindsight here. Loaded spy calls today, took them, as you know, ran through the group of why we're taking them, waited for that gap fill, finally got it, hit the 300% banger, and then we took puts at the very end today. Shout out to everybody in the group hitting it big. But you guys came here for the trade recap, so let's get into it. Why did I take calls near open? Well, as you guys know, we want to zoom out and look left. If you guys watched the video last night, you would have known this level of where we took calls at. Same level as last night, 518.62. Now, you know, yesterday that 515 was that level of interest that we saw. But we also know that the next level of interest above that is this 518.62, right? We drew these demands yesterday on the trade recap. And then we had a bigger demand up here. First demand, bottom of it is 518.62. Next is 513.30. Don't get too involved into the pennies, guys. Trading is not about to the penny. If you have a slightly different level, that's okay. But as long as you have around that 518.50 area and around that 515 area, that's more than perfect. So we have 518.62 on here. Now at open, typically, yes, we use the smaller time frames to take our entries, to take our exits. But one thing to keep in mind, guys, is don't get so zoomed in on the smaller time frame, you miss out on the bigger. One thing that you can always do is have a set of 4 charts where you have the 5 minute, 2 minute, whatever you use to take your entries and exits, a higher time frame, like a 15, 30 minute. Then you have a 1 hour, 4 hour, and then a daily time frame. So you have 4 different sets of eyes on the chart of what you're trading. You can see the smaller picture out to the bigger picture. So when you're doing this, you know, a lot of times it could be on the smaller time frames, it gets very mumbo jumbo, right? It gets very, you know, in and out, very choppy, very rangy, gets very confusing. But if you zoom out on the higher time frames, you can see something developing, right? You can see the action that's developing. You can see where we were holding, where we were trying to reject on that larger time frame. And as you guys know, the larger time frames are, you know, you use them, they're gonna show you the bigger move, right? Obviously, if you have a daily time frame, there's gonna be that daily move. If you have a 5 minute time frame, it's going to be smaller moves. So zoom out, look left, always look at the bigger picture. Today, I was looking at the daily. I knew we had that 518.62 level. That next area of demand, once we broke above 2 hold today, that was looking for my back test, right? I was looking for higher lows. And you could see today, you know, the game plan was today is all about looking for higher lows or retests of lows. Higher lows, retest of lows. So we already knew that the game plan, especially with all the buying of yesterday, we're looking for a retest back into higher lows, even the retest of yesterday's lows, for that to hold for a nice push up. And we already know we had that gap fill to the upside. So we're looking for a retest, a higher low, and a push up to have that gap fill. And that trade plan worked absolutely beautifully today. So going back, zoom out, look left. Why do we take calls? Well, we know that 518.62 level at open on the daily time frame. What happened? We had a nice big drawdown, hold into this big area of demand. Now we know 518.62, 1, 2, double bottom, which pushed us into all-time highs here. We pushed above it. So once we were above that 518.62 today and opening above, we were now looking for a back test first there. Obviously, we could have headed lower. 515 would have been another area of interest. And as you guys know, other areas of interest down at 513, about 508, 507, 505, to the downside. But if we look on the daily, that 518 was that big level of interest. So once I saw in the morning that we were holding, I knew that risk to reward was now there. Why? We had buyers show up, typically, massive buyers showing up. When we have a bullish pin bar or a bullish hammer, especially on a big sell into a huge demand, and we see a pattern like this, typically what happens is we create a higher low. We push down, we hold, and then we push up. I mean, now we know we have that gap fill to the upside as well. So risk to reward yet again is to the upside here, right? Risk to reward is to the upside. Can we head lower? Absolutely. One thing to keep in mind is, where are we at on the chart? Is the risk to reward more to the upside? Should I take this trade? Because which way is the reward better? Is the risk to reward better to the upside, or is it better to the downside? That is something that you guys should always keep in your head. Where is my risk to reward? Is it, if there's heavy risk to the downside still, then you got to wait. Let's wait for maybe a reject, because now we know that risk to reward is lower to the upside. Take the put, take the short to go to the downside. Likewise here, that risk to reward is better to the upside. There's better chance that we're going to see a bounce and see buyers hold a higher low and push into that gap fill than there is for us to sell off, especially once we start holding a major level like this, like 518.62. So always start to think about this when you're making your trades. What is my risk to reward? Is it more to the downside or is it more to the upside? If there's less risk one way and higher reward the other way, more than likely that's going to be the best trade to take. Is it going to work out 100% of the time? Absolutely not. Always going to be times where you're going to be wrong. But rule of thumb, at least for me, and has worked for me for quite a while now, always look, what is my risk to my reward situation? There's less risk and higher reward for me to take calls, meaning in this instance, we had buyers, we're in a big demand. Pattern is showing us that we're holding, when we have a bullish pin bar hammer, we usually get a back test and they push higher. We had that gap fill to the upside. We're holding a big level. We're in demand. We have all these things. Risk to reward is now to the upside. So that is why we took calls. And how do we get 300% on calls? We just held. We bought near the bottom, about near the bottom here. And what were we looking for? Gap fill. That's it. What were we looking for? Just this nice gap fill to the upside. 531. Did we get it to a T? No. Again, nothing's going to be exactly to the T, but we were, anticipating in this area, the risk to reward was now going to be to the downside. And then we take a look here. Now we wait. We'll look for a gap fill into 528 to 530, then for weakness, right? So if you miss the call side, right, there's going to be multiple opportunities. We're now looking into 528 to 530 for some weakness to get short. And what do we have today? Nice big short opportunity. So why do we take shorts? Second part of this video. We're seeing a big bounce into a gap fill, big supply here. We had a big gap down. So once we're filling this gap to the upside, what typically happens when we fill gaps, whether to the downside or to the upside? Usually we see a nice reject. And again, does not happen 100% of the time, but more times than not, you will see we fill a gap fill to the downside, we will get a bounce. We fill a gap fill to the upside, we'll get some sort of reject, right? Why? Because supply is up here. There's sellers left over. Think about all the buyers here that got trapped. And then think about the sellers that left over. Those buyers are going to turn into sellers, right? They want to get out of their position, and the sellers will still be sellers and they'll sell. Likewise to the downside. Buyers, if we're filling a gap to the downside, we have our buyers still left over that didn't get filled. So they're going to want to buy again. And then we have anybody who is trying to sell turning the buyers because they want to get out of their position for the short side. So gave the game plan, played out to a T, and it was a beautiful day for us, right? So again, zoom out, look left real quick. We know we have our levels. Look on the daily. Have your 4 charts. If you don't do it already, or if you don't want to flip through the charts, have number 1 chart. Have the chart that you want to take your entries and exit on. That's going to be your smaller time frames. Have something that's in the middle, that's not on the hourly, either the 15 or the 30 minute. Have a 1 hour, 4 hour, have a daily, 2, 5 minute, 1 minute, whatever you use, smaller time frame. 15, 10, 15, 30 on the second one, 1 hour, 4 hour on the third one, daily on the last one. It's going to show you the whole picture always of something that you're trading. If you don't already do this, try it, and I guarantee it's going to help open your eyes, not get so caught up on the lower time frame. You can really see things develop a lot better, and you'll have more confidence in trades. You'll be able to hold the trades a lot longer because you'll be able to see the actual bigger move that is happening on the daily, on the hourlies, versus just being stuck on that smaller time frame. If you guys have any questions, any comments, as always, drop them below. Drop them in the chat if you're with the Wolves. If you don't already trade with us, we're here for you guys. If you want to learn how to become profitable traders, we will be here for you. Again, my name is Mr. Banks. Leave it on this. Believe in yourselves. You guys got this. Not every day is going to be great. Not every trade is going to be perfect. Just keep chugging along. Again, it took me 5 years to have my first profitable year. And then I had some losing years after that, even. But hey, I'm still here doing good, and you can do good. Love you guys. Again, my name is Mr. Banks. Thank you guys for tuning in. Actually, I'll do a little quick, pretty much game plan across the board for tomorrow. Again, higher lows, looking for a retest back into lows, looking for a retest back into lows to hold. As we know, boom, that 200 MA, 500, definitely a spot we'll be looking for. Maybe even a push below, so 498, 494 if we get to real selly here, but definitely looking into that 200 for a big bounce if we come below Monday's low. So look for, again, another retest in the lows, maybe a double bottom here to play out. We can even see a little bit lower, maybe a little critter grab under that 200 and a nice push up. But we did have some pretty nice volume here again today. So across the board for any Mag 7 or anything else, guys, take it one trade at a time. You don't need to be doing too much in this type of market. One trade is all you need. Love you guys. Again, my name is Mr. Banks. I will see you next time on another trade recap. You guys have a good one. Play it safe.